mental illness and addiction and all that kind of stuff. And it helps because mental illness is so weird that you think it's just you.
Right.
You're like, holy shit, like, I don't understand this. Is this just me feeling sad today? And
well, when you don't feel alone with mental illness is if you spend some time in a psych ward, then you realize there's a lot of people right next to you, eating next to you that have it. I in the last year and a half, I've been in 3 psych wards, and 2 rehabs. And I got to say, you haven't lived till you played Scrabble in a psych ward. It's really a fun time. I played Scrabble with this guy who was on methadone and Thorazine, and he had a big beard, and he was just a scary motherfucker. He was like 6'4", and I played the Scrabble game, and I was just doing it to kill time in between the group therapies that you had to go to, which were terrible, but like art therapy where they make you draw your favorite superhero.
Do they really?
Yeah, you feel like you're in the 2nd grade.
So why is group therapy terrible?
Well, it ended up, if you have the wrong attitude, it's terrible. And I went in there thinking this is not going to help me, completely cynical about it. Eventually, this last rehab I went to, I got into it, and they forced me to go because I was away somewhere. It was like a boot camp. But originally, I went and I didn't like it at all. So I wasn't there mentally, and nothing good came of it. And they would have a thing called art therapy, and I was in there with this real blue collar guy from Boston. They would say, like, it's a real sensitive woman that is the therapist. And she goes like, today, guys, I want you to draw, if you were a superhero, what would your superhero be?
Oh, my God.
The guy just goes, I ain't fucking drawing with crayons. This is bullshit. I'm not in the 2nd fucking grade screaming at this therapist. That's all right. Like you seem to have a problem with anger, so maybe your Superman would be Angry Man. He goes, what? What the fuck are you talking about? I don't even understand what you're saying. Like he wanted to punch this woman. And the guy I played Scrabble with, it's me, him, and these 2 women who were crystal meth addicts. And they weighed about 80 pounds each. They look like in 1983 they were first-round draft picks, but now, they're getting ready for their Hall of Fame speech at this point. They got bad knees. They've been smoking crystal meth too long. And so that's the game. That's the Scrabble game. So the crazy Thorazine guy goes last. And when he goes, there's an open G on the board. And again, I was just scared to death of this guy. So next to the G, he just puts an M and an R. And I'm scared of him. So I go, okay, let's add that up. Great word. Let's add it up.
You're literally afraid that you might die in the Scrabble game.
I don't care about the game that much. I'm just trying to kill time.
Right.
So one of the women, typical broad, she's like, she won't let this go. She goes, that's not a word. And I'm like kicking her going, it's a fucking word, honey. Let's keep going. It's a word. And you can see the guy getting mad. Like, what do you mean it's not a word? She goes, it's a word. She goes, it's not a word. He goes, that's an abbreviation. She goes, an abbreviation for what? He goes, it's the abbreviation for game room, GMR. And it was on a double word score. So I go, fantastic. Let's add that up, man. Let's add that up. And she goes,
that's the title of your 3rd book. Let's add that up.
Let's add that up. And I'm keeping scoring. And then she goes, she has to be like on her fucking self-righteous soapbox. She goes, you can't use abbreviations in Scrabble. And he goes, yes, you can. So now this is the argument I'm in the middle of. Crystal meth woman and this crazy Thorazine guy. And she goes, no, you can't. I know that for a fact. Let's look it up in the rules. And I'm like, I can't find the rule book. She goes, it's right there. I go, I can't find the fucking rule book. Let's let it go. So they get in each other's face, and two guys, like the guys in the white suits from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest,
right,
had to come over and get the guy in a headlock and the woman in like a bear hug and drag them apart, and that's how the game ended.
Who had the most points?
I would have won.
You would have won this.
I would have won. I had you know what I had? I had the word toaster, which was all 7 letters. So, I was a little pissed off about that during art therapy, realizing that I blew a Scrabble game.
But this is the psych ward or the therapy that you went to that you said you had the breakthrough?
No, this was the first one I went to. I didn't have a breakthrough there.
This is the one you hated.
Yeah, this is the one I completely.
These are mandatory psych wards?
Yeah. And another guy, I had to go for 3 days to this one place that was just a living hell. It was just a complete living hell, and there was just 400-pound black guy who would just walk around the halls all night, and they would let him walk around. So when you're trying to sleep, all he would do was recite the Quran at the top of his lungs. So you're trying to sleep, and you're already in a psych ward, you know. And I had a roommate who was this young kid who just had a blank stare on his face, and he would snore like crazy. So I can't sleep because of the kid snoring. So in between the kid snoring, this guy's quoting the Quran. Like every once in a while, you know, it was like the Circle Line. He would come by your room sometimes, and you would just hear quotes from the Quran in between the kid snoring, and I couldn't go to sleep. He would just, you'd hear like the kid snoring like, and you'd hear, "Land of the Corinthians said to him," and then and the kid would make you put your hand on the Quran during lunch. And I would put my hand on the Quran because it looked like he would beat you up if you wouldn't put your hand on the Quran. And he would go, "Do you want to go to heaven?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "I'll see you there, son." And then he would walk over and steal somebody's lunch. He would steal food after quoting the Quran.
So psych ward sounds like prison.
Yeah, it was like prison. It was like prison. And you get like 2 hours to shower a day. I was in L.A. County Jail for a week, and I liked that better. I liked it way better.
Really?
Yeah. I showered in between a Crip and a Blood at L.A. County Jail.
And this pet.
That's good for your self-esteem.
Now, this past year and a half was your only time ever in psych wards?
No, I had been in one before. I tried to commit suicide in 1995 out in L.A.
Yeah, I know that story.
I ran out of cocaine, and that was depressing. And I took a bunch of pills, so they put me in a psych ward for 3 days at Cedars-Sinai in Beverly Hills. Mm-hmm. And that was bad. Not as bad as this one place I'm describing. The kid with the Quran, that was bad. Mm-hmm. That was an awful place. Awful.
So if people out there are listening that have depression and addictive personalities,
right?
What happened at this last rehab center that made it work?
Well, I stayed for 3 months.
You would always bail on this shit and just half be listening?
I would bail for a week, and I would bail after a week and never, ever mentally commit to it on any level. And
so what made you commit this time?
I guess I was just ready, you know. You know what really screwed me up was Greg Giraldo dying.
Really?
That really fucked me up, man.
You knew him pretty well.
I knew him pretty well, and there was a couple of times where we, partied together here and there, and we had a crazy flight to L.A. once together that was like an adventure where we were both all fucked up. And I wouldn't even bring this up, but he told it once on the radio. He said that I gave him ecstasy on, I think on Pete Dominic's show on Sirius. And I didn't have ecstasy on me. I had Vicodin, and I gave him some Vicodin to calm him down. And we flew out to L.A. together, and we were both fucked up on the plane. We were flying out to the William Shatner roast on Comedy Central. We both did that roast. Mm-hmm. So we both flew first class. We sat next to each other, like holding each other's hands because we were all paranoid from being high.
Yeah, it's got to be scary, like smuggling drugs on airplanes. I always hear guys talking about it. I'm like, I'm fucking worried just flying, and you're sneaking narcotics on.
I didn't have a balloon of heroin up my ass. I had 2 Vicodin, one of which I had to give to fucking Greg, but to calm him down.
I mean, my sister-in-law just went to Italy this past week, and she literally sent me a text saying I have, she had like the flu, and she was on like an antibiotic. She wanted to know if she could bring it on. Like, that's how paranoid my family is.
Well, yeah, I used to be that way, but then you just, like, when you're addicted, you want to get high so bad, you don't care. Like, right. You're willing to risk that.
Could you get in trouble for bringing 2 pills on a plane? You could, right?
If somebody wanted to bust balls, yeah, absolutely. Oh, of course. I mean, I didn't have them legally.
Had that ever happened to you?
No, thank God.
Never?
No. I mean, I got arrested for possession of coke once in Los Angeles, but it wasn't on a plane.
I would think a drug addict's dream is getting on an airplane and having something he can take that make it seem like he never took that flight.
Oh, it's the best. I can remember being on a plane, and the movie was a movie called Alex and Emma with this was before you could pick any movie on a plane, with Luke Wilson and who's the Goldie Hawn's kid, the broad. Kate Hudson.
Kate Hudson, yeah.
So it's a romantic comedy, Alex and Emma, with Luke Wilson and Kate Hudson. And I remember at the beginning of the flight, I'm like, oh, fuck. How am I going to get through this? It was like a 6-hour flight. And this movie, I can't even kill time watching this movie because it sucks. But then I took like 4 Percocet, and I got so into the movie. You know, I was like, at the end, I had to go to the bathroom, and the ending happened. And I remember turning to the woman next to me going, what happened? Did Alex love Emma at the end, or did they get together? Like, what happened with Alex and Emma? I just want to know, you know. It makes everything seem better,
right?
You know, and flying was just brutal. But so Giraldo and I get off the plane, and we had to go right to rehearsal for the thing, and we're all fucked up, and now we're more paranoid. So we share a town car to the CBS Radford lot out there, and Farrah Fawcett was still alive, and she still looked fucking hot, and she was on the roast for Shatner, so we had to stand right next to her while she was rehearsing, and we had to go next and not do your set, but just like go over like camera stuff and stuff. So we were so freaked out because we're high standing next to Farrah Fawcett, and we were so freaked out going, that's Farrah Fawcett. That's one of Charlie's Angels, that chick that I jerked off to every day from 1977 to 1982 was standing right there, you know.
Right.
And I was like, I got something to eat. I can't stand here anymore. Like, I'd rather eat something because I'm going to say something stupid to her and I'm going to get thrown out of here. We were both freaked out by that. So we're both going through this. Time comes for this. Just shows a roast is a roast. You got to fuck with people. Giraldo goes first. The first thing he says in the roast, he looks at me and he goes, Artie Lange, you fat fucking drug addict. And he looked at me and kind of like grudged, like, hey man, I got to do it. I'm like, yeah, I know. All right.
Did you slam him at all?
Well, no.
Did you have any Giraldo jokes?
I didn't have anything.
You didn't have one Giraldo joke?
I didn't have anything prepared. And I told him afterwards, I said, see, you're not in show business. I had nothing prepared for you. I had a lot of stuff about Farrah Fawcett.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but, but he was just such a talented, smart, good guy. And he just had a problem. And you go, after that happened, I sort of said to myself, so I just want to get this straight. He said on the radio I gave him ecstasy. I didn't give him ecstasy. I don't know. I mean, I've done ecstasy before, but not on a plane. I couldn't imagine wanting to make out with Greg Giraldo or one of the gay guys who was serving me soda.
So you get the news that where were you when you got that news? Do you remember?
Yeah, I was in this apartment.
You were here.
Colin Quinn called me up and told me about it. And
Did you hear the first part first while he was still alive, and that he had a?
I heard he was in bad shape. That was the first I heard, because Colin went to go visit him and said what he looked like. He was all discolored, and
so you got the true story. See, the news made it sound like the guy was fine.
Yeah, he was. Colin told me it's a matter of time. He saw him, and it was really sad. You know, you could tell he was in bad shape,
right.
And then he died the next day, and I was like, this is crazy. People I know now are starting to, like, I kind of knew Mitch